Defense of Estonia, Mr. Hanno Pevkur, please.
Thank you very much, dear journalist, dear Lloyd. It seems that in this week I've seen you more than my wife. But I hope that my wife will understand the situation we are living in, and this is exactly why we need to meet so often. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to welcome United States Defense Secretary here in Estonia with his delegation, and of course we are more than happy to welcome everyone who are coming here today. Lloyd's visit is a testament to the close cooperation and strategic partnership what we have between our countries. But the timing is also very, very significant. Next week, Estonia will celebrate its Independence Day. We must not forget that it is thanks to the committed allies like the United States that small countries like Estonia can even flourish as independent, sovereign states. Our security continues to be guaranteed by our membership in NATO, the most powerful alliance in history. Last year, at the NATO Madrid summit, allies made historic decisions to make the alliance even stronger. Allies committed to establishing a credible forward defense posture on NATO's eastern flank in order to ensure that every inch of Allied territory is defended without delay. As part of this commitment, President Biden announced the decision to enhance the US rotational presence in the Baltic states. Call that promise delivered. A US HIMARS platoon and an infantry company are now training side by side with the Estonian Defence Forces, increasing interoperability and strengthening the security of Estonia and NATO. However, since Russia has not given up its imperial ambitions and continues to pose the biggest and most direct threat to Allied security, Estonia expects to see more rapid progress in the upcoming Vilnius summit. The 24th of February will also be the day that we mark 1 year since Russia's full-scale, brutal war and invasion of Ukraine. I'm glad that Estonia and the United States share the determination for Ukraine to win this war against the aggressor, to expel Russian forces and its proxies from Ukraine, and restore Ukraine's territorial integrity. Ukraine has shown incredible courage in defending its people, territory, and our common values. And while we know that freedom will always triumph over tyranny, Russia's war in Ukraine is a stark reminder that freedom is never free. That is why the United States and Estonia are among the biggest providers of military aid to Ukraine. The United States, in particular, has demonstrated outstanding leadership and strategic foresight since the very beginning. Dear Lloyd, I would like to thank you also personally for that. Whilst the United States is the biggest contributor in absolute terms, Estonia is in relative terms. As a result of the Tallinn Pledge commitment, Estonia's military assistance to Ukraine recently exceeded 1% of our GDP. Still, we can and must do more. I have 3 key proposals as to how. First, all European partners and NATO allies must spend more than 2%, ideally closer to 2.5% of their GDP on defense. More can only be given when there is more to give. Second, the international coalition should reach at least 100 billion euros in combined military aid to Ukraine by the end of 2023. We can talk about how substance also matters, but trust me, there is at least 100 billion worth of things Ukraine needs already at this moment. Third, the European Union should urgently support the Ukrainian defense with 1 million artillery rounds, a proposal recently put forward by Estonia. At the same time, Estonia will continue to accelerate the development of its own national defense. The new Estonian national security strategy foresees a new standard of at least 3% of GDP for defense. Host nation support to allies is planned to come on top of this. We will continue upgrade allied infrastructure and expand training opportunities to support US and other allied deployments to Estonia, because we recognize that it is best to do practice defending in Estonia. Last but not least, I am grateful to the US and also to Secretary Austin for the substantial financial aid that the United States has provided to Estonia. It has been vital to the acceleration of our capability development. With that said, I pass the word to Secretary Austin. Dear Lloyd, please, the floor is yours.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. And Minister Pevkur, thanks for hosting me in this beautiful city. This is my first visit to Tallinn as a Secretary of Defense, and I'm grateful for your warm welcome, especially in this February weather.
Sorry for that.
I was delighted to be able to host you in Washington last year, and I'm glad that today we could continue our dialogue on bilateral defense partnership and regional security. I was also delighted to have the chance to meet earlier today with Prime Minister Kallas. So I want to make one thing very clear to the Estonian people today. The United States remains steadfastly committed to the freedom and sovereignty of our Baltic allies. And we stand united with you to deter and defend against any threat to our shared security. Now, I'm visiting at a critical time for Europe and for the world. As Minister Pevkur stated earlier, next week will mark a year since Russia launched its full-scale invasion of its peaceful neighbor, Ukraine. And we mourn the lives lost so needlessly in Putin's cruel and unprovoked war of choice. As the Ukrainian people fight so bravely to defend their sovereignty, they remind us that we can never take freedom for granted. Now, Estonians understand that very well. And Estonians know how important it is for all countries to stand up for a free and sovereign Ukraine. You've experienced the Kremlin's aggression firsthand, and you've shown tremendous leadership in supporting Ukraine today. As a share of your economic size, Estonia has provided more military aid to Ukraine than any other country in the world. You've made hard decisions to get Ukrainians the assistance that they need to defend themselves. So thank you for your leadership. It is truly a shining example to all countries. And Estonia's leadership reminds us that even small countries can make a big difference. Now, Estonia is also making contributions further afield. And I welcome Estonia's plan to increase its participation in Operation Inherent Resolve in Iraq.